meeting to order. Will everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to all. We have the agenda before us. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions from the agenda?
Just a question for the water.
Opioid
settlement.
Yeah. Okay. I'll put that under law director then. Okay, is that it? All right, the agenda will stand as edited. For the record, Lisa Campbell is absent this evening on an excused absence, so I think Mr. Williams will be taking over for her.
Administrator pro tem.
Yeah, that's right. So the first thing on the agenda is the sheriff's report. Captain Carter. Welcome.
Good evening. Month of January, we had 957 calls for service, 67 crashes, 9 crashes with injury. Calls for service were up 4.8% from last year. 45 alarms, 211 traffic stops, 109 citations, 54 arrests, 445 vacation security checks. For the detective's report, we had 17 cases assigned, and closed cases, 1 felonious assault, 2 breaking and entering, 1 missing person, and 1 motor vehicle theft. You have your year-to-year comparison charts. Nothing significant to note there.
Okay. Any questions? The vacation checks still seem to be a popular entity.
They are a very popular thing, particularly this time of year. We get a lot of snowbirds.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
I've used them a couple times.
yeah, so we'll get those January, February, and into March. The numbers will be a little higher than the rest of the year.
Well, that's good. I appreciate you guys doing that because, you know, certainly.
Even with good neighbors, it's still peak.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we've got a few of them now that, ring cameras and everything else. They'll say hi while we're there.
Yeah, that's good.
I'll ask them how everything's going down in Florida.
Yeah.
So,
That's
so
good.
We're glad
They probably get a chuckle out of
that.
that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any questions? Very good, thanks. Stay safe. All right, that takes us then to unfinished business. I'll turn that over to our law director, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, sir. I have one item for unfinished business. It's a resolution to forward a petition to vacate a section of Township Road to the Board of Stark County Commissioners. This is on the Ronell Circle vacation that we had discussed before. That petition has come back now with the participation of the entities that own property there, and this is simply to approve it from our end, but it really just forwards it on to the Stark County Board of Commissioners.
I'll move on unfinished business number 1.
Second's been moved and seconded. Discussion.
Yeah.
I think you guys are here for that. Is that correct?
Yep.
We're
Again,
the 2 neighbors.
Yep. Perfect. That's great.
again, I, for the record, just given the history of road vacation, the last
Yeah.
road vacation, this decision is solely on the Stark County Commissioners.
Correct.
We are just simply going, yes, we are in
We are.
agreement, but
Yes.
they own the decision at the end of the day, because
Yeah.
it might sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but we were put back in the corner on a prior one where we provided every piece of documentation they wanted, and then because non-residents
Yeah.
from other communities were complaining about the road vacation, they had went and closed the road, well then when they wanted to open it back up, they had to pay right away, fees and so forth, and the makeup of the prior board, took some heat for something that was legitimately not ours, so.
Yeah, this one's a lot easier, makes a lot more sense. I appreciate you guys pursuing this. That's going to be a good addition there. You guys got that property from the county, which obviously you were able to utilize that as well. They weren't going to be able to use it for anything because it was in that pretty much an island right there. So it's just win-win for everybody.
Yes,
So,
I mean, the economic development
Yeah.
piece is a beautiful piece of it, so we
Yep.
appreciate investment, my comments weren't
Yeah.
directed anything towards you, it has more so to do between county and township, so.
Yeah. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Thank you, that's all for
Yeah.
unfinished.
Okay, now you guys are welcome to stay for the meeting if you want to stay, but you don't have to. It's up to you.
Good night.
From here, everything's good, it goes to the commissioner?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're all
They'll do
done.
their process.
Yeah, it'll,
Excellent.
that'll be on its way to the commissioner, that we passed a resolution stating that based on everything we saw, we are okay with it as well.
Excellent. Well,
So,
thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for coming, and
Yep.
like I say, you don't have a whole lot to do tonight, you can stick around, but you got other things to do, I will understand.
If I want to stay married, I might have to leave. No offense.
I know the feeling, that's why I'm gonna move this meeting along. Thank you. That takes us to new business. Again, Mr. Williams?
Yeah, I don't have anything in my packet for this one. This is Chris Novelli from Stark County Health Department. Was he gonna be here? Do we want him?
No.
I don't have any paperwork on it.
Yeah.
So then I'll just go to number 2.
Which is mine.
Yeah.
All right, so, are you part of the Glen Oak? Okay. So I've been working the last couple of weeks with a group of students from the Glen Oak High School through their junior achievement. There's a business program that they work through. And essentially, they had reached out, one of the gentlemen, Bradley Mall, I've actually known since he's been in Scouts, like way back in the day. And there's approximately 7 or 8, and they've got this battery, they're wanting to do this battery drop-off recycling program. They went to the Stark Tuscaloosa Joint Solid Waste District, previously had inquired about getting some grant funding. They've actually talked with the one individual I was already gonna recommend they talk to. Essentially what we are is we're just signing on to say, yeah, hey, we'll collaborate, with you. What does collaboration look like as far as involvement? We would be able to be the drop-off location for those batteries. So I've only got one flyer here, so you guys will have to share it, but you'll see it's a small container on the side of it.
Oh, yeah, it's one.
Oh, it is, okay, it is in there. So on the side of it, if you're unsure about your batteries, their strength and so forth, you can check them. Their grant request is, I think, for approximately $2,400, of which like $1,800 will go towards containers, and then $600 is appropriated on the actual recycling cost. So there's literally no cost to us as a township. It's purely,
Yep.
you know how the grants work, and it is another collaborative party. I did tell them we would like to be able to help in advertising it in the form of social media and the website, based upon the timing of the newsletter, and the layout, the content, that won't work. But the goal is, with our agreement here, they'll proceed with the grant application, and by having that additional collaborative party, we'll be able to.
So you'll help take the point on that?
Yeah, I mean, I've met with the students and their teacher, and I.
Is that what he's here for?
No,
Something
no.
different?
So, that's all I have.
Okay. That does not take a resolution, does it?
Nope.
Okay, that was for information only, and we still don't know what number 1 was for, correct?
I don't.
I don't
looking
either.
right now to see if I have anything.
All right. Okay, then that takes us to the fiscal officer's report. Mr. Wolf?
Thank you. Fiscal Officer number 1 is a resolution to authorize the payment of pending warrants in the amount of $391,755.93.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 2 is a resolution to authorize payment of regular payroll in an amount not to exceed $250,000.
So moved.
Second's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 3 is a resolution to authorize the payment for the following medical claims.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo.
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 4 is the financial report.
Okay, any questions for Tom specifically? See him later. Next, Tom.
Fiscal Officer number 5 is the investment report. Total interest for January was $36,994.14.
Yeah, it's coming up a little bit.
Yeah, it is.
Only because of inflation.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Double-edged sword.
yeah, coming up, but not worth as much. Okay, any questions again? See Tom.
Fiscal Officer number 6 is a resolution to authorize the following transfer of funds.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 7 is a resolution that to provide for the current expenses and other expenditures, Plain Township Board of Trustees during the fiscal year ending December 31, 2023, the following sums be and the same are hereby set aside and appropriated for the several purposes for which expenditures are to be made for during said fiscal years as follows.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Has every department head reviewed these permanent appropriations and everything is square away, accurate?
Where I would anticipate mine to be.
Okay.
Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 8 is a resolution to authorize payment of the 2022 real estate taxes and special assessments to the Stark County Treasurer for the total amount of $3,617.76 from the following funds.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless? Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 9 is a resolution to amend Resolution 23-061 for the firefighter sick pay bonus to pay Michael Evans an additional $250 for a total of $500 and a revised total payout of $6,550.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 10 is a resolution to authorize the payment in an amount not to exceed $5,496.50 to be taken from the following fund to reimburse the Canton Municipal Court for Plain Township's proportional share of the operating costs.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And that concludes the Fiscal Officer report.
Thanks, Tom. That takes us to the administrator's report, who Mr. Williams is filling in for tonight.
Thank you, sir. Item number 1 is a resolution for payment to Canton Data Print for the spring newsletter 2023.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 2 is a resolution to authorize change order number 1 from EKO Solutions for the amphitheater.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. And item number 3 is a resolution to authorize change order number 5 from St. Clair Palace Group for the amphitheater.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion we did talk about in the construction meeting today. We did talk about both of these as to what they were.
We're saying we would previously send these out.
Yep. Yep. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Eric. That takes us to Fire Chief Schallenberger.
Thank you. Item number 1 is our monthly report.
Hey, Sean, this is a random question, but is the pin pad on that rear door, so you got the door in the training room, then you got that other door right there in the corner. I've tried using it, and it feels like the buttons aren't pressing, so I tried
No,
another
it
door.
does act a little weird though, I do know that.
All right.
Because it just would make the beep noises no more, but it still works.
Because the last 2 times I couldn't get in
south one.
Yeah.
We'll check.
Maybe you'd have an embedded link in here to show the breaching of the tanks on the controlled release of vinyl chloride.
Will that be February?
Yeah. All right, any questions specifically, see Chief? Number 2.
Item number 2 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to pay Coleman's Roofing for the installation of a roof at Station 4, not to exceed $29,000.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 3 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to pay CompuTech for the purchase and payment of computer upgrades not to exceed $5,000.
So moved.
Second, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Resolution number 4 is a resolution to change the pay status of part-time paramedic Dane Johnson and Maxwell Tisdale, as the rate should be $18.75 because their probation period has been satisfied.
So moved.
Second, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 5 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to extend an offer of employment to part-time personnel listed below with rates and benefits established by Resolution 22155.
I will move on. Fire Department number 5.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you, that concludes the fire department.
Thanks. Thanks, Chief. That takes us to Road JP.
Thank you. First item under road is the monthly report.
Oh, yeah, we should have That's okay if it's the only one we see.
Yeah, I also put the winter update in there so far this season. Hopefully those are the ending numbers.
Yeah. And salt-wise, like you explained to me today, we're gonna be good. We're gonna have enough room.
Yep,
Uh,
Yep.
So,
1,000 tons
Yeah.
delivered so far due to the temporary budget. But yeah, we got plenty enough room to meet our minimum and our required. So,
Yeah.
we're in good
Nice.
shape.
We ever had the chance to use that accelerated BD? I know.
Yeah, we've had 1 or 2 rounds and it
Any
really.
initial thoughts on how
Yeah,
that's?
the guys had said, and I know Rob was here when we were at OTA.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
On that day, you guys were at OTA, we were out early that morning, because that stuff hit out of nowhere.
oh, I did.
But they
We
pre-dried,
know that.
and it didn't build. It never, like, we pushed some slush, but it never really built. It was incredible.
It went black from edge to edge is what the crew said, so,
Nice.
Yeah.
yeah, we got some really positive feedback.
Good,
And I know the crew's excited for it, so
good.
hopefully, I don't wanna say hopefully we get a chance to use it maybe next year. Right?
Exactly.
Or the year after.
Yeah. Okay,
Thanks. Any questions, CJP afterwards? Number 2.
yep, item number 2 is a resolution to authorize payment to Abbott Electric for purchase and installation of new inside LED lighting not to exceed $13,160.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion.
And this finishes out.
Yep.
Yeah, this is our 4th and final phase of our LED upgrades.
Which we've been doing consistently to all of our buildings.
Yep.
All around, so. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you. Road item number 3 is a resolution to direct the Plain Township Highway Superintendent to place an advertisement for bids for the Plain Township 2023 paving and road repair project and a newspaper published to Stark County in general circulation in the township on February 23rd and March 2nd, and in the repository with bids to be received on March 7th, 2023 by 1:30 p.m.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion.
I just love how early we get.
I was just gonna say the same thing.
This
I
is
appreciate you getting this
Yeah.
together. We could move on it. We're first on the list. Everybody's following our lead.
This-
We're finished midsummer.
Yeah.
This makes it
Hopefully-
nice for folks that want to be out.
Yep.
This puts us a couple weeks ahead of where we or usually are, but,
Yeah,
you know, I mean, in the times we're in,
Yeah.
sometimes we're the guinea pigs, but
yeah.
it's just where we're at, so. You know, we're doing some creative stuff this year that hopefully gets the ball rolling. So,
Well, we're gonna do some concrete gutter as
Yep.
well, which, you know, that's all part of it, so. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And last item, road item number 4, is a resolution to promote Christopher Woods from full-time road department labor to full-time probationary operator labor, contingent on the passing of a CDL test.
I will move on to road number 4.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. He only has what? One more portion of his test to
Correct.
take, his
Yep, on Thursday.
practical test.
Yep.
Here free.
Yeah, I know.
Due to just a pure equipment, technicality, so.
Seems like he's really working.
Oh, yeah, he's
Good.
gonna work out really well with us, so we're excited.
Good.
And that-
Anything else?
That completes.
Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thanks, JP. That takes us to zoning. Tom?
Thank you,
Ferrara.
sir. First item on the agenda is a monthly report.
Nice
Will say-
patriotic theme.
Listen, I notice this is the first time in a long time that when the DIA's numbers come out for housing starts, Lake's actually leading.
Yeah.
Just from the month of January, which I think, it's not that we're not attractive, but our saturation point's coming pretty close
Yeah.
to almost
Yep.
max.
Anything specific, questions of Tom? See him later. And I think that's all you have, Tom?
That's all I have,
Easy
sir.
night tonight. Thanks. That takes us to parks, Mr. Steinberg.
Thanks, item number 1 is the monthly report.
Okay, any questions? See Rob later. We'll go to number 2.
Thanks, item number 2 is a resolution to authorize payment to Connecticut Recreation and Parks Association for CPSI course registration.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thanks, item number 3 is a resolution to authorize payment to Elite Sports for t-shirts for Rexall.
So moved.
Second, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thanks, item number 4 is a resolution to authorize payment to Unconverse Sales for equipment maintenance for our tractor and Kubotas.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thanks. Item number 5 is for discussion. I met with AEP at Alino Park to talk about additional lighting for the park, the parking lots, and of course, the basketball and what will be the pickleball and tennis courts. All told, a total of 6 poles and 7 lights that won't cost anything at all for installation and is right around $150 a month just for the utility. And we do have the ability, you asked a question, let me follow up real quick. We do have the ability on that post by the pickleball and the tennis courts to add lighting, whether we connect to another post or whether we add lighting to that post.
I just think that's a good security.
Oh, absolutely.
As Rob knows, with the skate park in the past, when some of our youth have opted to paint inappropriate
Yeah.
graphics, and you're over there,
Absolutely.
lighting helps deter. So,
And I think the residents are totally in favor of this. I know there was a group of people here.
Up by the intersection.
Yeah,
there.
and I think this is gonna be great for them as well.
Yeah,
So-
we're gonna aim the lights away from the houses, but on the park installation so
absolutely.
that we're not
Yep.
interfering with neighbors.
Yeah, because we still want to be good neighbors in terms of, lighting nuisances, but,
Most of those poles are gonna come down that north lot too.
Oh,
Because there's
yeah.
no lighting
Okay.
back there.
Yeah.
There's one post inside the fence of the south lot. There's one post they're gonna draw from just outside of the fence in that north lot. And because we're within 150 feet, they can keep connecting posts without any cost to us. So we can light that entire north lot facing the creek without interfering with our neighbors behind us.
Yeah, as long as, is that going to be underground, or is that,
A lot of it's gonna be overground.
okay? So as long as the wire they run is big enough that we can add on to if
Correct.
necessary.
That is
We're okay.
100% correct.
Good. Anything else? Roll call.
Just discussion.
Yes.
Oh, that's right, sorry. Thanks.
No problem. Resolution to authorize work and payment upon completion to stripe the west lot again with web coat striping for number 6.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
So in front of you, hard copies, I didn't get them in time to add them to the meeting, I apologize for that, is the barn update. I was able to contact 4 roofers, I was able to meet with 4 roofers, I did get 3 distinct quotes back. When I spoke with them, when we talked about the global view of that barn and what the process of that grant was for, the idea of keeping the underneath exposed wood beams and decking was important to us because of what it provided historically. So when you talk about the cost, a lot of what your cost is going to be is to add the R-value insulation above that decking. And then the wraparound metal roofing, which is, I know, was a preference, because it protects the screws, which is where it wears out, so it almost gives it a lifetime guarantee, because there's no weather getting to those screws. They obviously, I apologize, I'm trying to talk quickly, are talking about replacing the gutter system as well. That's an old rounded gutter system. You're talking about adding size to the gutter system because of the pitch of the roof and the size of the roof in general and the amount of water it does run off of it. So that is the first part of the barn update, as you can see with both, excuse me, not both, but all 3 Legacy, Roof Tech, and Henderson Roofing, getting us back quotes to what that cost is. To further update you as you thumb through the quotes, JP, Chief, and I did meet last week. We scored out the architects that responded to the RFQ. 2 clearly stood above the rest. We took time to speak with those via Zoom yesterday. We asked for some supplemental information back from the 2 that we received this afternoon. We're going to review those and catch up next week to review our notes and what the supplemental information does to help our opinion. We hope to come back to you at next meeting with a recommendation for the architect. We just aren't there yet.
Do it right, don't rush it.
Yes, sir.
Yep, that's what I say. I didn't do the math on these, but is Henderson,
Henderson's a little higher,
okay.
but the type of roofing they're using is a little different. I think Legacy, there's a lot of quotes tonight. Legacy Roofing was the lowest. They gave us 3 different options. And then Roof Tech was right in the middle. Even when we talked to our architects, gentlemen, you can jump in if I'm wrong, but even when we talked to our architects, the mean pricing for roofing is right around 150 grand to replace roofing, based on the size of the roof and what we're doing. So they're all within the ballpark. It's just a matter of, what decisions need to be made as we continue on.
So, I guess I'm seeing just easily on the roof that one, the removal, disposal of slate.
I do know Henderson and Legacy also included at their final pricing because they all talked about removing that slate. What their main concern was when they removed the slate, thanks for reminding me, what their main concern was with removing the slate was they wanted to remove some of that weight because when they put the insulation and then the metal roof on top, they wanted to make sure the weight wasn't too much stress on those beams and those purlins. So they were all talking about, regardless, removing that.
Purlins are really, the beams are they're stretching pretty far, they think it's gonna affect those, but the purlins, sure.
I think their point is just not to affect total load management.
So I guess, I'm just curious, have we asked them, are they looking to try to salvage that slate? Because if so, there's still significant value in that to them, which if that's the case.
I did not ask what that would
That could be
be.
some leverage
Yeah.
on price. Now, if they're just tearing it off, and the reality is, I think we've already checked, a lot of that stuff's gonna end up busting, chipping, so it's not gonna be full sheets. But honestly, even if they come down to 3/4 or something, there's some value.
I'll ask that.
And
I did not
I
ask
know
that
it's
upfront.
not as popular as what it used to be, but there's certainly still value in that. And if you're gonna say, hey, I want $150,000 or $195,000 for a roof, and I'm willing to guess that they're likely.
So I didn't ask the question, I will ask it as a follow-up, I did not ask that upfront.
All right. And, a break?
Maybe one of my favorites. This is a resolution to enter into proposal with Hammond Tree Associates Limited to build out specs for our pickleball court grant.
Yeah,
So moved.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Very excited about
This
that
would be
one.
like on the expedited pass.
I am very excited, yes. I am jumping. Final one, I know per trustee Sabo, he asked me to put this on the agenda, it's just an update as to where we've been with the programming with the amphitheater and meeting with Bill Draining over the course of the last month and a half, over, I'd say 4 times. And discussion and just brainstorming and trying to get our branding, our socials, our infrastructure, our sponsorship packages, our programming, and a general idea of budget in line so he can get out to market as soon as possible so we can affect a positive, soft, and true opening this coming fall. And again, start planning and rehearsing for 2024. I know we've had discussions from as simple as what logos do we like to as complicated for me in particular as how do you like the sound of this Michael Bublé tribute artist. We think we can fit him in between tour dates for a discounted, like almost non-essential pricing, which is fantastic with his expertise and his wherewithal from his years in the industry of booking entertainment for festivals and music industry and things of that nature. So I'm touching on a lot, I'm running through a lot as I remember it. My goal is to have a packet for you folks sometime this week in your mailboxes for review. I didn't have time today with all the meetings I was in to produce it tonight, but my goal is to turn that around as quickly as possible so you guys can start getting your eyeballs and your arms wrapped around some of the conversations we've had in detail, and then pursue it from there in real form so we can keep moving forward with that train of thought.
Yeah, there'll be some things we're gonna wanna try to get moving, simply because,
Oh, it's already booking time.
Yeah.
well, absolutely, he's got some really good ideas on sponsorship, and I mean, really good ideas, so, I think the priorities now are gonna be, website, logo, so how we're gonna present it on social media, making some decisions on how we wanna move forward with sponsorship, just some things that, to keep him moving, we just have to collectively,
Usage
so.
protocols and platforms and
What-
just lots of
Yeah,
different things.
what I would suggest, obviously, with the packet that you look over there, Rob's gonna give you, have specific questions, get with him, but maybe we could do another 1-hour work session prior to our next meeting to at least go through some of these issues and, continue to move forward.
I just wanted a chance to present it to you
Oh,
in full
absolutely.
with detail, and I didn't have the time to organize it prior to the meeting, guys.
Yeah, because we're meeting again next Tuesday, so we're kind of.
You'll get a pile this week, and you'll get a pile next week.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob.
That's it.
Thank you. That takes us to the law director on the opioid settlement status.
Eric, I know, I'm the one that gets these notices because I forget how I got signed up. And essentially, these are templated through, as the state's indicating, it's just, they're changing the names of the party.
Right.
And here, so this one's for Teva, Allergen, CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart. Was there anything noted just in there that would be cause for concern?
No, it's the same thing. I will say that it looks like, if my math is correct, this is another, could be up to 20 billion in settlements. That it's gonna go through the same process as the other ones. It's gonna go through the same memorandum from One Ohio that we've already seen.
Do you know, as our county group, they've been meeting?
Yeah, they have.
Decide,
Yeah,
what are they targeting?
Some of us are a little slower, but
Obviously, education, treatment.
yeah, and the problem, part of the problem now is that meeting is taking place with all of the groups, and so you have some of that bureaucracy
Oh,
kind of,
absolutely.
gonna slow things down a little bit, but,
I spoke with Keith Mercado, who's the
Our
township
township rep.
representative, and he exactly said that. I mean,
Yeah,
it's-
nice.
It's
Yeah,
slow
but
moving, but they're, I mean,
it'll,
it's like they're trying to boil the ocean.
Right.
Going through all this stuff.
right.
it's brand new though. I mean,
Yeah.
we've never had a situation like this,
Yeah.
where because of these class action suits, this money filtered down in such a way, and that's all, is that like annuities or something? I'm trying to
It's
remember
over.
how that.
I think
It's
it's
over a
15
period
or
of-
8, 15
yeah.
or 18 years.
Yeah.
And essentially, I mean, to put in, you know, Eric's not far off, when we say hundreds of millions or
Oh,
billion
yeah.
dollars. But the last one that we've already agreed into, and I think we've received the 2 district, I mean, it's like $4 to $5 grand, and I don't wanna sound dismissive of it. That's what comes directly to us, because within the in the one Ohio, they've got at the state level, the entity that holds a percentage. And then there's a percentage that comes down to the county, and then that county board essentially acts as the vetting group for anybody here, or anybody in the crowd has an idea that gets escalated up to the, you know, board locally. If they recommend it, essentially it's going to the state for stamp of approval. So the lion's share of the money between the state and the county, so really what we're seeing, you know, with that, say, you know, a couple $1,000s here and there, it's more practical. We can use some of those funds to reimburse back for, stuff within EMS,
Arcane, absolutely, yeah.
medical and so
Yeah.
forth, but we can use it for educational,
Mhm.
opportunities. Who knows, it may even be a conduit to doing something, you know, with the
Yeah.
sheriff's office, just because of with the drug drop-offs and so
Yeah.
forth, that may warrant a conversation, just, so we're not sitting on the funds, but we also don't wanna just literally spend them just for the sake of spending them, be very. But,
So we have region money, because Stark County is its own.
Own region.
Region.
which is a very good.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yep.
Because we only have one group of people to deal with.
That's right.
I can't imagine what,
Split county.
6 or 7 counties are
And
trying.
I think that the region money will end up being fairly significant.
Yeah, but if I understand it correctly, we, as the local recipient, can also provide part of our funds to assist the region
Correct.
projects as
Yes.
well.
That's correct.
So, you know, obviously, we're not gonna lose any money, that's the
Right.
nice part. Once we figure out what we need locally,
Yes.
then, you know, we can partner as a group for the region as well.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thanks, Eric. Thanks for staying on top of that. Okay, that takes us to the portion of the meeting for public speaks. If there's anyone in the audience that wishes to address the board, please feel free to address the board at this time, giving your name and address to our fiscal officer, anyone. Are you here for a school project?
No, I'm here for Boy Scouts.
For a what?
What type of,
Yeah, for a merit badge?
Yeah.
Okay,
what are you working on?
citizenship and
Communication.
community?
Merit badge.
Yeah. Good. Do you have any questions?
No,
Do you need us to sign anything before you go?
no.
Make sure that you take a copy of our agenda,
Mhm.
okay? And if you need us to sign anything, good luck with that. We get these all the time, it's either school projects or Boy Scouts, so hope that helps you, good luck. Anybody else? Okay, we do have a need for an executive session.
We'll do minutes first.
I'm sorry, minutes. Yeah,
I'll approve the minutes for January 24th, 2023.
second, it's been moved and seconded, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Abstain.
Mr. Saba?
Yes. Now we do have a need for an executive session. I will make the motion, be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to adjourn to executive session at, let me see here, 6:39 PM from this regular meeting of February 14, 2023, is authorized under Ohio Revised Code 121.22G for the purpose of the consideration of 1D, the discipline of a public employee or official.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Saba?
Yes.